welcome to Dead and Kind of Famous, where we dig into the life stories of dead folks who enjoyed a touch or two of fame in their time
and now reside permanently in the Hollywood Forever Cemetery.
I'm Marissa Rivera, and I know nothing, but I do know... What do I know? Oh, God, I know nothing. I'm Marissa Rivera, and I know nothing, but I do know how to make a killer cinnamon roll from scratch. Okay?
That's right, and I'm eating it right now. I'm going to eat it a little bit throughout this episode. I know people hate that, but I might just do it because, I don't know, because we're hanging, you know?
We're chilling.
And this is delicious. And I'm Courtney Blomquist, and I know way too much about what we're talking about, but I also don't know how to, something you know, speak Spanish. Well, anyway, I'm trying.
Listen, all I know is that your daughter now knows how to say "te amo, Titi Mari," and I can now die happy. So, you've taught her enough. You know enough Spanish.
She said otoño the other day too.
Oh my God,
Except
she's got the ñ almost.
She didn't really. She said like otoño.
Oh,
but it was pretty close for her. I feel like
so fucking cute.
I know, it was really cute.
Oh, I love it.
Yes.
Welcome to Maila Nurmi Part 2.
This week, we are entering into the dawning of the age of Vampira, just after she was birthed from a pile of trash and fetish gear that Maila Nurmi had lying around her apartment.
Iconic.
Yes. She had stolen the hearts of the executives of local Los Angeles television station KABC, and they were so delighted by her that they made sure she got paid very little, very, very little indeed.
Okay.
Yes.
Surprise, surprise.
Yes. Maila's contract was quite strange, actually. It ensured Maila's pay would be a massive $75 per episode. And the network wanted to own a percentage of her character.
You know, that's what bothers me more. What is the conversion rate? Like, what's $75?
Yes. In 1950s money, $75 was $885. So it's not as bad as it seems.
Okay.
However, Marissa, allow me to call upon your insight as a working actress in Los Angeles.
Uh-huh.
Can you elaborate on how this would compare to today's pay?
It's actually...
It's not that bad.
You know, it's higher than the commercial day rate. The commercial day rate is currently at $790. It's about $790. It's a little under. That's the commercial day rate. For a SAG contract. For TV, it's a little over $1,100 for the day.
But then there's like residuals, obviously.
There's residuals, and you know, for TV, it's a different weekly rate than a daily rate. You know, there's different like rate breakdowns. So I would say it's kind of in the middle of, you know, it's on the lower end. I mean, to be honest, we're all paid shit. So
okay.
You know,
this is why the strikes happened.
This is a big reason why the strikes happened. You know, the pay, it's not enough, and it hasn't risen with the times. Everyone's skimming. Oh, the people at the top are making more, and the people at the bottom are making less.
These network execs, man, they were doing it back then, and they're doing it now.
The whole, you know, she invented this character.
Yes, that's the thing. It's intellectual property.
Intellectual property. No one from the network invented this. Why? That pisses me off. Did she give them a percentage of the rights to this character?
As for the percentage of her character that the network owned, Maila herself chose that number. She allowed KABC to own a whopping 49% of her character as a thank you.
What? Oh, honey, no.
Yes. And she explains. Tell us, Vampira.
Okay. In her own words, it was my idea to give them 49%. I wanted to give them as much as I possibly could without losing control because I appreciated the fact that they had taken me out of obscurity. No!
I know. It's so like, it's like, oh, I appreciated the fact that the club let me join. Like, that's how it feels.
Or like, I appreciate you for hiring me at this 9-to-5 job. So let me give you 49% of my paycheck back to you. Like, that's insane.
It is insane. It's insane. I think she's just like, I think she almost wanted her character. She was just like so in love with the idea of putting her character out there that she's like, oh, great. They're going to give it a chance. And then she jumped all over it.
She's young and hungry. And she's like, I'd do this for free.
I mean, but actors do stuff for free all the time.
I mean, it's true.
So truly, like,
short-sighted.
It's because you're like, oh, I want it for my reel.
Yeah. Copy credit meal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you don't know what that means, it's a classic. Like, this is either a non-union project or a very low budget, like SAG waiver. Like, I waive the right to get paid, but you will get.
You'll get to eat something.
You'll get to eat something.
Yeah.
You can take that Chipotle all the way to the bay.
Yep. And your name will be added to the end of this short or whatever.
And maybe at one day it will be on your IMDb. Who knows?
Yep.
If the producer gets around to it at any point, because they're not getting paid either, So
right.
But this was on a network. This was on network television.
It was on network.
A local network.
It was a local network television, so it is local.
Still.
But yeah.
But still.
So the other strange thing about Maila's contract was that her actual name doesn't appear anywhere on it.
What?
It's hard to say if this was just a draft or a copy of the real thing, but there is a version of Maila's contract that documentarian Ray Green examined for his film Vampira and Me that shows that Maila's name is never listed on the actual contract. It simply mentions her as Vampira.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess my contracts have my stage name. So
that's true.
Kind of makes sense.
That's true. Yeah, except that this is like, I'm trying to think of a good comparison. It would almost be like, actually, I feel like this is a good comparison.
Okay.
I feel like it would almost be like a drag queen having their drag name on the contract instead of their name as a person.
Interesting.
And if it wasn't their full stage name that like they were making I don't know. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I bet the tax man figured it out anyway.
I bet, yeah. As Sandra Niemi says in Glamour Ghoul, the contract was little more than a handshake. And Maila had no agents or representation working with her to help her inform these decisions.
Mm-hmm. Well, they would have taken even more of a cut, but they would have. Someone would have been like, "Honey, no,
yeah, this
not
is 49%.
No.
That's a bad idea." Yeah. But despite the sloppiness of her contract, the station was very excited about her, and they rushed to promote her in a combination of creative and schlocky ways. My personal favorite.
Hold on, what does schlocky mean?
Like,
let the children know, and by the children, I mean me. What the fuck does? And I'm very well read. What does schlocky mean?
It's like, I think that's like some Yiddish nonsense that means like just hacky.
Okay,
like,
just like thrown together,
and kind of like kitschy almost.
Okay,
like,
okay,
yeah, just a little tacky, I would say.
Okay,
yeah. And half-assed, maybe.
Okay, yeah, half-assed.
My personal favorite is when they drove her around in a convertible on Sunset Boulevard while Maila sat in the back seat in full Vampira drag. She donned a black parasol, and every time the car stopped at a stop sign, she let out her famous blood-curdling Vampira scream. Can you imagine?
It was such a horror to be stuck at a red light.
Yes.
Okay.
Which, by the way, let's hear that scream.
Let's hear that blood-curdling scream.
This is the intro to Nightmare Attic, which is what the original title of her show was.
She's walking through the mist. So much mist. That fog machine is working overtime, probably getting paid more than she is. Here she comes.
Really, really mad.
What did she say?
Screaming relaxes me so.
Screaming relaxes me
yes.
so.
Since this was always the opening to her show, the scream was a pretty good advertising tool. And of the scream, Maila says,
she suddenly screams a blood-curdling scream. And then says, screaming relaxes me so. As if she's having just had an orgasm. I mean, that was my thought. And that was what I was trying to imply in a ladylike manner.
Isn't that incredible?
That's so great. Also, she looks incredible. How old is she in this clip? Do we know?
I think she's in her late 70s.
Oh my God. She looks amazing.
Yeah. She's got bone structure, for sure.
For days.
So, for further promotion, an introductory brochure was made to attract sponsors. It pictures Vampira on the cover and says,
she's dying to meet you.
Then inside, I love it. Then inside it went on to say,
she's a magnificent, exotic, if somewhat macabre slice of womanhood. She's a girl who looks thrilling in a form-fitting shroud, a devil doll who has Hollywood's werewolves panting at her door. You know what? I'm in.
I know, right?
I'm so in.
It's pretty good.
That's some clever writing.
It's some pretty good writing.
I'm into it.
Yes. Maila also gave interviews completely in character. For a while, neither she or the station revealed her real name at all. It added to the mystery and intrigue. When interviewed by the Los Angeles Mirror, the reporter asked her, "How do you feel about children? Do you like them?" And her response was,
"Oh, yes. Delicious."
She's so funny.
She's hilarious.
I love it. She's like so funny. In late spring 1954 at midnight, Maila's show, Nightmare Attic, premiered, and Maila pulled viewers in with her arched eyebrows, high slit, and fishnet-clad legs. But it was the creepy wit of the show that really captivated audiences. The humor was dark and twisted, and Vampira did not hold back. Even though this was 1954 and this was local public television, this is a bit of her monologue from that first episode.
Oh, God. Okay. I've got a wonderful offer to make to you tonight. It's a new hospitalization plan called the Yellow Cross. It's for people who unsuccessfully try to commit suicide. Okay. The plan pays all the bills till you're well enough to try again. If you're interested in such a plan, I'll be glad to get in touch with you. Of course, I hope you never have to use it. It's disheartening to hear of an unsuccessful suicide. And remember our slogan, if at first you don't succeed, die, then die again.
That's like really pretty edgy for now.
Oh
I
my
feel
God,
like.
yes.
Right?
It's like, that's I mean,
dark.
It's a suicide joke right off the top.
Yes, in the first episode. Like that's kind of, I mean, ballsy. It is really ballsy.
It's super ballsy. I love it.
She'd introduce a film, then go on with more.
I went to a delightful funeral yesterday. We buried a friend of mine. Alive. It takes a heap of dying to make a house a tomb. This is Vampira. Until next week, wishing you bad dreams, darlings.
I love her.
What a sign-off.
I know.
Wishing you bad dreams, darlings.
It's so good. There seems to be only one poor quality episode of Vampira's show available for viewing because it was a live show and wasn't generally recorded.
Oh.
So that's why I'm having you even
what?
read those things instead of playing them. These are a couple moments where you can get a sense of her gothic charms.
Wait, so how was it on a station if a local station if it wasn't recorded?
It was live streamed.
Oh,
or it was like
it was
live
live.
streamed. It was live. It
And
was
then
live broadcast.
Live broadcasted. and what was there was it, and
it was. She went in and she actually like recorded the show at like 11 p.m. on a Saturday night.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was like late night local television live.
That's rad.
I know.
Honestly, she probably didn't work that many hours too.
She worked. I mean, she did all these promotional things and all this stuff, like in character.
I wonder if that was like included in her contract, or if she got paid extra.
I think it was included in her contract. We'll see. We'll get into it.
You know me. I'm like, where's the coin? Where's she getting paid? I need to know.
I must know.
These are a couple moments where you can get a sense of her gothic charms. Let me see.
What I need is a vampire cocktail to settle my nerves. It'll not only settle them, it will petrify. A vampire cocktail. You like it? It hates you. I've had several letters asking whether olives or cherries should be used in making my cocktail. Well, actually, neither is necessary, since they'd only disintegrate upon being put into the cocktail. However, if you want to use some garnish, you can drop in an eyeball, if you happen to have an extra one around the house.
Drop in an eyeball if you have an extra one lying around the house.
Yes. And then,
oh my God,
this is...
I love her. She's so iconic.
I know. This is what I'm saying. Like,
also, her eyebrows are crazy.
They are crazy. Like, she's incredible.
You know, I've often been asked why I don't light my attic with electricity. Isn't that ridiculous? Everybody knows electricity is for chairs.
Everybody knows electricity is for chairs. So good.
So good.
Yeah. Maila adored the writer of the show, Paul Robinson, and so did I.
I adore Paul.
It's so good.
It's so witty.
She especially loved him because he allowed her to contribute to the scripts. So there really is like her input in here as well.
Very collaborative.
Yes.
That's the best stuff.
It's true. And whether she actually received writing credit is another story, but still she was allowed to have influence. With her sexified, morbid lampooning of 1950s America, Vampira was scratching an itch that needed scratching, and people ate it up.
Yes.
The show was such a hit in Los Angeles that it was bumped up an hour to accommodate all of the viewers.
That's so cool.
I know.
That's like after the kids are gone to sleep, to sleep, and like you're having your alone time.
Totally. And it's like, I mean, I don't know. I just find it fascinating that like so many people were pulled into this, and I think there's a bunch of reasons why, but it's just like, it's because it seems so edgy.
Yeah,
it really does.
This is so goth.
I know.
Punk, like
it's very
counterculture.
Yes, she's like a counterculture queen.
Yes.
And a photographer from Life magazine was even called upon to photograph Maila. There were many goth-leaning cheesecake photo shoots of Vampira done, and Maila's modeling background primed her to make an impact in those photos. Except this time, she didn't need to smile at all. And even though Nightmare Attic was a local television show, the photos made it so that Vampira made an impact worldwide. Just the photos.
Yes, of course. Well, it's Life magazine.
Yeah.
It's an international magazine.
So these are like, I'm just going to show you a bunch of...
Okay.
Because they're going to be like the first things that show up. These are her glamour shot photos.
My God.
She's very beautiful.
Okay, she's very beautiful. These are black and white photos.
Mm-hmm.
Like the contrast is really, really stark. The back, wait, what is she reading in this one? What does this say?
Oh,
that's in Magnum. It says Magnum.
Embalming, self-taught. It's true. Like, they're so witty and funny.
Let me see the one where she's standing next to this standing candelabra.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God. And she's almost as skinny as that candelabra. That's crazy.
Yeah, her waist is shockingly small. Yeah. It is shockingly small. And the papaya, magic, I guess, really worked.
I wonder if she used some padding on her hips to even make the proportions even more,
I don't know,
stark. This is incredible.
Yeah. It's and so the photos, they are really beautiful, and I think like
They're
they
beautiful.
just people
They're
hadn't seen it.
artistic. They're super gothy and
with a crying jack-o'-lantern.
oh my
She's
god,
like carving a crying jack-o'-lantern
perfect. Like I want to redo this. I want to
with a skeleton, like weird dummy head around her shoulder. I don't know what this. Yeah, again with a sad jack-o'-lantern.
You guys need to Google. We'll include these. In the show notes, and like make sure you're subscribed to Substack.
Yes,
So you can see all of these because they are hot and cool.
Yeah,
these are just
she's
cool
very,
and
very cool.
timeless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's incredible.
This one.
Oh yeah, that's like the scream.
Oh my gosh. Okay, there's a photo of her. Okay, in the foreground, there's a hand holding a camera that says L
Or KABC.
KABC TV, and in the middle there she is doing her scream with the mist. Oh, it looks so cool.
Yeah, they look. I mean, they're like really. Yeah, like you said, it's Life magazine. They're beautiful photographs.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm obsessed.
I know she's
incredible.
So Vampira fan clubs cropped up in Europe, Asia, and Australia.
Wow.
For a local Los Angeles TV. It's just really wild. She was written about in Newsweek, TV Guide, and major newspapers in America's biggest cities. And because it was Vampira herself that people loved, the name of the show was changed to The Vampira Show.
As it should.
Yes. Maila soon appeared on the Red Skelton Show with other horror stars of the day like Bela Lugosi, Peter Lorre,
Red Skelton, not skeleton. Okay.
Red Skelton. He was like, he had a talk show at the time and like a kind of like sketch sort of show.
Okay.
Variety a little bit, but more like a late night with some sketch stuff.
Okay, so Bela Lugosi was on there, Peter Lorre, and Lon Chaney Jr.
Right, who was the Wolfman from Universal.
Oh, yes.
Horror films.
Yes. Okay.
And he was the one who was like really good at doing his own makeup and stuff. I don't know if you guys knew this, but one of my many jobs previous to
how would they know this?
They wouldn't. I used to be a Universal Studios tour guide as well, so that was another one. So I do know a little bit about the horror,
the monsters,
the Universal Studios monsters, and where all of them were filmed on the lot. Should you take a tour, I'm sure your guide will point them out to you. To use this gig as an example of how her strange and shitty contract with KABC played out, Maila was paid the AFTRA rate at the time of $500, 49% of which went to KABC in checks made out to Vampira, care of Hunt Stromberg, the executive who had discovered her.
Well,
how do we
it
feel
is
about this?
okay.
Yeah.
Well, it is pretty common for checks to go out to agents first.
Uh-huh.
Then that gets put in a talent trust account, and then they keep their percentage. Back then, it might have been different. Now it's 10%.
Okay.
Agency fee. And then they send the check out. So that's common now. 49% ain't common.
Right.
I cannot get over that.
That's a lot.
And the AFTRA, okay, so SAG, now the unions merged, so it's SAG AFTRA now. AFTRA was always a lower rate than SAG.
Okay. See, this is what you're bringing to this show.
You bring the research, and watch someone in the comments be like, actually,
yeah, for sure.
There was 1 year where
right.
Back in these 10 years,
and if
AFTRA paid more,
look,
and they might have, but in my day.
In this day
and age, when I started in Los Angeles, when there was 2 separate unions, AFTRA paid less.
Okay.
Their rates were less.
It was on the Red Skelton Show that Maila became familiar with one of Skelton's writers, a young Johnny Carson.
Stop.
For whom she developed a lifelong dislike.
Stop!
Because of the way he treated the aging actor Bela Lugosi.
It was an ageist.
Yeah. Well,
Well, what
Lugosi
happened?
was very ill at the time
Oh,
and missed several cues as a result. And Carson often made jokes at his expense.
oh, that's awful.
Yeah. And I mean, I bet he was like kind of new and was trying to like impress someone. You know, I don't know. People make jokes that are in poor taste when they're the most insecure, to be honest.
Or maybe, you know, in the darkest of times, I often lean on comedy as well.
Right. It might not have been his best instinct.
Yeah. Or we don't know if Bella didn't mind.
We don't know.
We don't know.
But
Okay.
Maila loved Bela Lugosi. She writes,
When at the end of the show, you took my arm to guide me to the footlights for curtain call, I was suddenly 10 feet tall and wore a 50-foot aura of royalty. I was all the queens of history rolled into one. Oh, she loved him.
Yeah.
He held such a special place in her heart. I
yes,
loved
she had a
that.
lot of respect for him. The Red Skelton show was the one time that Maila would actually get to perform with Bela Lugosi, but it wouldn't be the last time they appeared on screen together. More on that later.
Ooh, okay.
Yes. But with all the TV appearances and promotions around town, Vampira had the key to Los Angeles for a time, and everybody wanted a piece of her.
I mean, yeah, I want a piece of her.
Mhm.
I mean, like, I bet she could get in wherever she wanted.
Yeah.
Do and go wherever she wanted, get a table wherever she wanted.
Yeah, I think she was a hot little number in Los Angeles for a minute there.
I love it.
She waved from parade floats, cut ribbons at openings, and made game show appearances regularly.
Yes.
Columnist Walter Winchell said at the time,
The only person more popular than Vampira is Eisenhower.
and Eisenhower was the sitting president.
Wow.
But Maila's husband, Dink,
I forgot his name was Dink. Dink. Damn it, Dink.
Damn it, Dink. Maila's husband, Dink, found the attention she received as Vampira to be embarrassing.
Oh, I bet it was embarrassing, you insecure little prick.
Yep, you little dink. He thought her getup was over the top and refused to be seen with her in public when she was in costume.
It's the point. It's the point. It's drag.
It's a character.
It's a drag character.
You dink. I like that his name is an insult.
Yeah.
He considered her a liability to his own writing career, which was actually going well at the time.
Finally.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Now that
You're welcome.
Now that you stopped drinking.
Now that your wife helped you stop drinking.
Yeah.
And you're riding on her coattails.
Yeah.
And you have some successes.
And now it's like, oh,
you can't
I'm better.
be seen with her.
I'm embarrassed by whatever. So as was her custom, she found her own people to consort with outside of her home.
That's right. Always find your tribe, people.
Yes. And if it's not your husband,
Get a divorce.
and if you can't get a divorce yet, like leave your house for a while. Go on a walk. Find some ne'er-do-wells. Always eager to befriend Hollywood misfits like herself, Maila spotted Jimmy Dean a mile away. James Dean just keeps on surfacing in these shows. He really does.
James Dean.
He keeps coming up. She saw him at the C&B scene premiere of the Audrey Hepburn film Sabrina. Yeah, he was her rumpled little misfit in a tux.
Here comes this guy in a tux with a Howard Hughes whore on his arm. She had a... with a Howard Hughes whore on his arm. She had a loopy smile on her face, clearly enjoying the attention. But he is mad. It was obviously a studio date. He is angry to have been there, and he certainly doesn't want to be with her. And I knew I had to meet this guy.
Yep. But she didn't have the chance that night. At the same premiere, she spotted another man who would become a soul friendship. But not because he was brooding or well-dressed. It was because he looked like his clothes didn't fit and he had no idea how to dress himself. This was the actor Jack Simmons. Maila befriended Jack first and began hanging out with him on her nighttime sits at Googie's. And it was at Googie's where she finally met James Dean.
What a spot.
Yep. She was sitting in a booth with Jack when he arrived on a motorcycle with Tony Lee Scott, a jazz singer who had lost her leg in a motorcycle accident. So I guess just
getting right back on that horse.
Yeah, getting back on that bike.
Oh my gosh.
Against probably her better judgment. And the first thing Maila said to him was,
"Where is she?"
When he gestured at Tony, Maila said,
"Not your girlfriend, your mother."
To which he said,
"Man, is it that obvious? She cut out."
And it does seem that Maila had a bit of a mother connection to Dean. She was certainly not old enough to be his mother, but she was older than him and noticed the mother-shaped hole in him right away.
At the time, I thought Jimmy's mother had abandoned him. It was later I found out that she died of cancer at only 29 and left him alone in the world with a father who was distant.
Within an hour of meeting, Maila was on Jimmy's motorcycle with him. I guess Tony found another ride. They discovered all the commonalities they shared. For instance, they'd both been named after writers. James' middle name was Byron, after Lord Byron, and Maila was named after Finnish writer Maila Talvio. And Maila came to know about James Dean's death fixation. In his apartment, he read her a Ray Bradbury poem about a boy whose mother died and then hung himself in the garage. While he read, Maila noticed a noose hanging from his own ceiling. When she asked about it, he said,
"That's how I'm gonna die, with a broken neck."
Soon after this, Maila would... I know. He's just a death fetishist, really.
Yeah.
Of course you would want to be his friend.
I know.
She's like, ooh.
You're dark and spooky, ooky, and only talk about death all the time.
I love it.
You have a noose in your apartment. That is wild.
I know. That's so... I mean, talk about red flags. Marissa was a walking red flag for Halloween, and that should have been one of them. You have a noose hanging from your ceiling. No, that's like, it's on another level.
That's on a whole other level. That, I mean...
that's like, let's call someone.
Yeah.
Soon after this, Maila would give a nod to Jimmy on the Vampira show by sipping a cocktail through a noose.
Oh my
I know.
God, but that's kind of brilliant.
I know. It's like, it's dark and it's spooky, and it's like, I would be shocked if someone did it now. It's just wild that this is
wild.
1954.
And in anything things that you've read, it doesn't say that she was depressed or anything.
That she was?
Yeah.
No.
She is just a dark, spooky, ooky goth girl, and I love it.
I mean, she has, like, not at this point. Okay.
Okay, at this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of their relationship, Maila said,
"We were psychic twins, Jimmy and I. Both of us were misunderstood in a world of strange beings. When at age 31 I met Jimmy, he was the first entity of my own species that I had ever encountered. When at 23 Jimmy met me, he thought he'd at last met someone from his own planet. We became glued to one another. Our psyches melded." Wow.
yeah.
Sometimes you just really find your soul people, and it is that
And you feel
quick,
it.
and you feel it, and it's like she's not mentioning anything sexual in
No.
nature here. I mean, the fact that she felt motherly towards him and she was only 31.
I know. She's like, "You rumpled little boy
Oh man.
in your 20s. I mean, in some way, sometimes I feel like when people in their 20s do really stupid things, I'm like, oh, you poor child. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
I'll feel a little
that
motherly.
there is, between your 30s and 20s,
Yeah.
there's a lifetime, shall we say. So I do feel that way sometimes, and I don't, not to be patronizing or anything.
Right. Of course.
I just know what's coming.
Right. Well, and you also just know what it's like to be an idiot.
Yeah.
It's
oh my
like
God. At 23?
Oh, yeah.
Dummy. Big dummy.
Super big
Your
dumb.
frontal lobe's not even done for me. It's not even done
I feel like
cooking.
my frontal lobe just finished cooking, and I'm like close to 40, but it's fine. At another point, she said,
For me, Jimmy seemed a mirror of my psyche, and Googie's was the womb in which we lived as Siamese twins, the endless stream of coffee, our placenta.
it gets a little weird.
It
I feel like that takes a little turn.
It does. First of all, Googie's, what a spot. I mean, we talked about this last time.
Yeah.
But like even more, she felt motherly. I mean, it seems like she felt like they had like a sibling sort of bond
I think
here.
so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Like
and I think
at least something familial.
Yeah, and I think that also any kind of soul connection to her was going to feel really good right now because her marriage was in such a stupid place. So it's like when you feel like that, I think I found my people. It's like always more exciting when you just really need it,
Yeah.
And I do think that that's the place she was at. Jack Simmons was the third misfit in their trio. Gossip columnists I can't say columnists. God damn
You just said it.
I know. Gossip columnists called the grouping Vampira and her spooks.
I love that.
I know. And the Night Watch.
Oh, I love that. What? That's so much better than like Swifties.
Yes. Yes. This was a strange, brief moment in time in which Vampira was actually much more famous than James Dean. In fact, at the time, he was a rumpled mess with dirty clothes and disheveled hair that made waitresses look at him in disgust.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Unshowered.
Yeah, he did not bathe. It's what that sounds like.
Yeah, it sounds like he was not fit for public consumption.
Yeah, he was like just rolling out of bed, like in the same clothes. I don't know. That's what I'm
went
picturing.
To sleep in. Yeah.
Yeah, for like 3 days in a row.
Very 23-year-old.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you're like, I can go to class in my pajamas or whatever. KABC did not like the Night Watch business because Vampira was known to be a married woman, even though she actually wasn't.
That's right.
Yeah. And it looked scandalous in the press to have her seen about town regularly with 2 young men. They quelled rumors by explaining that Maila's husband was a screenwriter who needed to write at night without distraction, so she had to give him space during those times.
Oh, you have to give the working men space.
Yeah, she's just being a good wife.
Yeah,
she's really taking a hit.
That's right.
Yeah.
She's giving him the space that he needs to be creative.
That's right. Of James and Jack, Maila said,
"We're a menage a trois without the sex."
I just love her. Everything she says.
Oh, I love it.
Outside of Googie's, the 3 could be seen cruising about town in Jack Simmons' old converted Cadillac hearse. And now we know what Jack Simmons brings to the equation.
Yes.
James Dean brings the noose. Jack Simmons brings the hearse.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
And Vampira brings her fabulous goth self.
Her body, yaddy, yaddy.
Yeah, that's right. They were all a little death obsessed. Jimmy hung his signature noose from the headliner of the car, and they went on late night romps through graveyards that they referred to as tombstone tours.
You would have totally been part of this.
Oh my God.
You would have been part of the Night Watch in a second, Courtney.
It would have been so fun. Can you imagine? I mean, with those, like, that would have been incredible.
They would have loved this podcast.
They would have loved this podcast. I hope that you are doing a shimmy in your grave, Maila Nurmi.
R.I.P. the Night Watch. You would have loved this podcast.
Yes. They smoked joints among the graves and moved flowers from one grave to another.
Oh, man, I would have loved to be in this.
It's like Halloween every night. I love it. They would find tombstones with familiar names and make up gruesome stories to explain the deceased's fate, as Maila put it.
Wait, is this us?
I know it kind of is because this is like we're making up stories to explain like we didn't make up stories to explain their well actually we did the whole obituary so we did explain their face. Damn it, I thought I was being original.
This is why we love her so much.
This is like because she's a kindred spirit.
Wow. Okay. As Maila put it, we all suffered greatly from delayed adolescence. I feel that so hard.
Yes. I feel that hard.
I feel that so hard. I feel like I grew up in a very conservative household, and so like I don't feel like I really let loose until college, really, but like really until my early 20s when I was like dumb and young and immature.
Yeah.
In my 20s and like
for sure.
And finding my tribe of people and like my band of weirdos.
Yes.
My night watch.
Yes. We all have to find our night watch. It's true.
Our spooks.
They took their dark fascinations to new heights when they decided to go from cemeteries to mortuaries in order to see an actual dead body.
Stop. No. Okay. I would not do that. Okay. This is where the similarities end right here.
It's true. They combed over obits and used aliases to sign in on the visitors registry at the mortuary. James used Montgomery Brando. You know, a little obvious. Maila used Countess Cuntish. And Jack used Pee-wee.
Ain't nobody checking in those sign-in sheets. That's what we're learning. That's what we're learning today. Nobody checks the sign-in sheets. The first time they encountered a dead body was the last because Jimmy took it too far. Oh, Jimmy. Of course you did.
Yep. Because he's cocky. He tried to pry the man's mouth open, which had been wired shut, and took a ring from his finger without the other two noticing.
No.
I know. Maila was furious with him for overstepping a boundary, and they never went sniffing around dead bodies again.
Okay.
So she had standards.
She had standards and boundaries.
Yes, and he didn't.
Yeah.
However, there was a point that Jimmy stood in as a cameo for a dead body in one of Mila's sketches for her show.
That's awesome.
Yes. She was a spooky librarian.
Oh, so sexy.
Yes. And Jimmy was a young man who had fallen asleep and was snoring loudly despite Vampira's quiet sign. So Maila conks him over the head with a dictionary and leaves him mortally wounded from that on the floor. And that was the one time James Dean appeared on the Vampira show.
Wow. Yep. As a dead body.
I mean, I guess he was alive at the beginning, but then he was a dead body.
No lines.
Mm-mm.
That's amazing.
I know.
That's a really, really cool
Easter egg.
A little Easter egg. Yeah, I love that.
Maila also served as the go-between for James Dean and his idol, Marlon Brando.
Yes, I was going to say, because he signed in as what was it? Montgomery Brando. I was going to ask if he was a little obsessed with someone.
Yeah.
Gosh, I guess all these, you can be a little obsessed about.
Well, I think people just like, people are still obsessed with both actually Marlon Brando and James Dean today.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. Brando totally rejected Dean and felt threatened by his fast-rising star.
Oh.
So they were jealous of each other. Whenever he did relay a message to James via Maila, he would always preface it with,
"Tell your little friend that."
To put him in his place.
Tell your little friend.
Tell
your little friend that.
It's like so mobster, kind of.
Yeah. Tell your little friends. Tell your little friends.
Yeah. The Vampira show had first hit Los Angeles living rooms in the spring, and by Halloween, Vampira pretty much was Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Vampira costumes were popping up everywhere. Even Zsa Zsa Gabor's maid had called to get tips on how to execute the look properly for her employer.
Wow. Yeah. And for those of you who don't know, Zsa Zsa Gabor was like the Kardashian of her time.
Oh, totally.
So
yeah, just it's a hoity-toity, like
socialite.
had to have the whatever it was of the moment.
Yeah. Was that a good description of her? Would you say?
I think so. Yeah.
Was she more than just a socialite?
Let's look it up. Let's look it up.
Am I remembering that incorrectly? I don't want to.
American socialite and actress. But
I guess Kim Kardashian technically is an
like,
American socialite and actress.
Yeah, I think that was pretty accurate what you just said. Maila also hosted live horror movie screenings at the Orpheum Theater over Halloween weekend.
Oh, so fun.
I know.
That would have been
the hot ticket.
Yeah, hot ticket. I would love to do that.
I know. After which she had to race over to KABC for the taping of her live weekly episode at 11 p.m.
She's a busy lady.
She was busy. She was hustling around town. She went to the Bal Caribe again just 1 year after being discovered there. This time, she went with Hunt Stromberg Jr., the TV exec who discovered her and liked to take full credit for the creation of Vampira.
Oh, of course he did.
This, of course, pissed Maila off, but she did a victory lap with him anyway. That December, KABC premiered another host for romantic movies called Voluptua.
Okay.
Yes, played by Victoria Paul. Voluptua, a buxom blonde, was brought in to host a slate of romance films.
Oh, so just like the
opposite.
The complete opposite side of the coin here.
Exactly.
You know what? Smart.
Yeah. Except it's interesting because the network was promoting both hosts together as the chill and charm girls. And Maila hated all of this. Mm-hmm. In the midst of the chill and charm campaign, Maila protested by ditching a scheduled public appearance. She felt the studio was at war with her and wanted to own her character along with the Vampira name and syndicate the show nationwide with different Vampiras hosting.
Okay, well, that's why you don't give them 49%.
I know. But it was through the station that she received all of her public appearance gigs and money, and they basically threatened to refuse all of the requests, which added up to $6,000 in just the next month.
And $6,000 back then,
right? Would have been a lot.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Let's just see. I want to know what the conversion is.
What the conversion is? Yeah, $6,000 in
1950. What?
50. This would have been 55. How much?
$70,000.
No way.
Yes. $6,000 in 1955 is worth over $70,000. $70,589.78.
Oh my God.
Okay. Another one says it's $68,000. Still, it's
a lot.
It's a lot in a month. $70,000 in a month.
That's shocking. I feel like now I'm like, am I wrong? I'm gonna look at this. Hold on. $6,000 worth of paid Vampira bookings, and that's just for January.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
So that's right. No, that made me question it.
Oh my God. But wait, did they take basically half of that?
Yeah. So, okay. And
but
then,
still, that's a lot of money to make in 1 month.
I know. So they were like, we're gonna refuse all the requests if you keep acting up and whatever, making a scene out of this. So for a time, she towed the line. But Voluptua didn't last long anyway. They put her in a 9:30 time slot on Wednesdays, and her
"I'm breathless because I've been waiting for you"
line mixed with her sexual appearance ticked off more than a few housewives.
Interesting.
She also would end up on a bed in a men's dress shirt and nothing else by the end of the show. So it was pretty suggestive without any death mixed in to make it palatable.
Yeah.
So she got the chop after just 7 weeks. And this is Voluptua.
Oh,
So
I cannot wait to see her.
Okay, like this is some of the shots from these are going to be, like that's her. She's like getting ready, and this is like
That's not a flattering photo.
Her promotional shots. I mean, she kind of looks just like cheesecakey, but she is like laying on a bed. I mean, like in this one, she's wearing kind of like an evening gown and laying on a bed. I'm trying to find one of the ones where they show her this is her in the men's shirt though. So like that idea was
Okay.
like really, really suggestive. And they were like, no, not having it. And it was an earlier time slot.
Yeah.
So I think that they just,
She just did not look as cool as Vampira.
She didn't at all. And
Wait, is this her changing behind a screen?
yes. Yes.
You can kind of see her nipples here.
I think it's a shadow.
It's a shadow.
It's just too suggestive for 1950s. And I think Vampira truly, it's like she was just creepy enough and like the humor was witty enough that people weren't only focusing on her being sexual.
Right.
Even though that was definitely there. So
I mean, she said it herself, like that the scream was orgasmic.
yeah, but like I can't believe, I think that that's incredible, by the way, that went over the public's head.
Oh yeah, well that's the thing. She was clever enough to
make an orgasm joke in 1954.
Also, you know what? Sex by itself is fucking boring.
It is boring. It's true.
Sexiness and that's just like, I'm here. I'm just breathless for you. I'm waiting for you.
Yeah.
But this
is why people don't watch porn in full.
That's why we skip around.
That's why we skip around. Exactly. Yeah, it's a means to an end.
It is.
And it was at this point in time that Maila's marriage got chopped up as well. In January 1955, an announcement of Maila Nurmi's divorce from Dean Reisner, also known as Dink, was issued in Los Angeles Herald Examiner. In the announcement, Maila issued a quote.
My husband and I have been married for 6 years, and we are not compatible. He has social inhibition, and I'm a social extrovert. Well, that's for damn sure.
Mm-hmm. When it came time to move out of their shared apartment in Laurel Canyon, Maila locked herself in the bedroom and clung to their bed, saying,
"This is a bed of sanctity, where youthful naivete once flourished and blossomed into love, and I will not abandon it to be violated by anonymous and sundry whores."
And that right there is my favorite quote from this whole thing.
Oh my God.
It's so good. Anonymous and sundry whores. Oh.
Wow. For my divorce, the first thing I wanted to get rid of was my bed. Not the mattress, though, because it's a Tempur-Pedic mattress.
See, you didn't get rid of your mattress either.
Well, I'm not about to throw $5,000 down the drain, Courtney.
But you didn't care about the anonymous and sundry whores.
No.
Yeah.
I kept the bed because I have back problems.
Well,
but I did get rid of like the headboard,
frame
the frame and the
yeah.
headboard, and the sheets and all that.
Oh yeah.
Like
you gave it a makeover.
Oh yes. I made it my own.
Yes.
But this is interesting that she had kind of like this jealous streak. I mean, she was like not into her. They never spent time with each other.
She felt rejected by him, though.
That's true.
So remember she was trying to do all of her like dominatrix or like
she was
stuff.
trying to get him to. That's hard.
Yeah,
when she put the work in and what?
Felt
invisible, and then she's like and she's so visible to the rest of the city at this time too.
Right,
That's
wanted literally everywhere else but her marriage. Oh, girl.
Yeah.
Get that divorce.
Get that fake divorce because you weren't actually married.
That's right.
Smart. Needless to say, she took the bed with her to her new apartment. In the aftermath of her breakup, a broken-hearted Maila could often be seen at her beloved Googie's after taping her show in her normal clothes and blonde cropped hair, but still in her full face of ghoulish Vampira makeup as she wolfed down a burger.
Ain't that the way?
Yep.
Ain't that the way? I don't know. I do that shit. Like
you gotta meet your needs.
Yeah, after a long day of set, I will look fucking crazy. Like my hair and makeup will be all completely done up, but I will be in sweatpants and flippy floppies, housing a Taco Bell. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I get this. Yeah. I get this. I am her. She is me.
Yes. In her journal, she wrote,
"For 6 years, the gypsy slept while the brain was honed. Then here I was, a bachelorette again. I used to watch Hollywood's lovelorn come into Schwab's to pick up their bags of pills. Mayo Method, Bogart's ex, came in wearing her full-length mink. Even sunglasses wouldn't hide her suffering. That was right after her husband left her for Lauren Bacall. Then there was Robert Montgomery's ex-wife, Elizabeth. She, too, was hoping for a better life through pharmaceuticals. They were always women. The men drank themselves to death. The women used pills.
I love her writing, I have to say. I know this is a journal, but
I know.
It's good.
She's so poetic.
She's poetic and dark, and you can tell that she influenced the scripts, like just from her journal alone.
Yeah.
You know? Maila had already ditched the dress to impress ideology of her 20s in favor of scruffy bohemianness, even though she was actually in the midst of her highest level of fame. That's very on brand.
Yes.
I feel like the less you try, the more famous you are.
Yeah. Or like, you know, are they homeless or are they famous?
Yes. She's like Keanu Reeves. America's sweetheart, Keanu Reeves.
That's, I mean, you want to be comfortable. I mean, she was snatched in that outfit.
Mm-hmm.
So if I had to work and look like that,
yeah,
I too would be wearing loosey-goosey, flowy-hoey dresses in my bachelorette era.
That's right. Let it
all hang out.
But the refusal to even remove her Vampira makeup was a new level of disregard for her appearance. In March of 1955, Maila attended the 7th annual Emmy Awards.
Wait, I want to go back.
Yeah.
Okay. To her journal entry. It's for 6 years, the gypsy slept while the brain was honed.
I think that she's saying
that for 6 years while she was married.
Yes.
The gypsy slept while the brain was honed. So like she lost
I think
that part of herself?
Yeah, like the gypsy being the one who
the free spirit
and the one who can kind of like wander and explore and all of that, I think. So, and then the brain, I think she was able to focus on.
I connect so much with that because like I was married for
like 9 years?
No. We were together for 10 years, but I was married for I was also married for 6 years before we separated.
Okay.
So I was also married for 6 years. And I will say, yeah, like that free spirit gypsy part of me slept but like the brain was honed, but the career, the ambition, the like, you know, that part of me was in overdrive.
Right. You were focused on your career on basically like mental pursuits.
Yeah, mental pursuits and like that loosey-goosey, flowy, hoey part of me slept.
It slept, yeah. She writes well. See, look at you. You got us thinking, Maila. You got us relating
Maila.
and thinking. In March of 1955, Maila attended the 7th annual Emmy Awards at the same venue, the Moulin Rouge, as the costume ball that changed her life had been held. For once, she wasn't expected to dress like her character. She had been nominated for the most outstanding television personality of 1954.
A regular RuPaul.
I know. She wore an ice blue gown and dyed her hair to match.
Oh, so
she's
cool.
like Katy Perry.
Oh my god,
she's like such a legend for this time. I kind of can't get over it.
I wonder, was this televised? Do we know?
I don't think so. I think that this category wasn't. I don't think so.
This is so cool. Are there any pictures of this?
Vampira at the Emmy Awards. Oh, so you can't. It's not in color.
It's not in color, but she looks so cool.
She does look cool. It's like she has like a little fur on, and her nails look metallic.
And she's wearing a crown. She looks so cool. She looks like an ice queen.
She does. And if you can picture it in color, it's like with the blue hair.
Yeah.
Oh. Maybe that's why you could get away with stuff like that, actually, even if it wasn't like frowned upon, or if you wanted to make a shock of the night. But you knew that, like,
amongst your peers.
but the footage was going to be in black and white.
Yeah.
Oh, I kind of love it. Her friend Jack Simmons was her date, wearing a rented tux. For just one night, they were the Hollywood elite. But after his performance in East of Eden, it was really James Dean who was becoming one of Hollywood's elite. And now it was Maila who was a blight on his image.
Oh, no.
I know.
I hate this.
There was an alleged romance between them and whisperings of their shared interest in the occult, and Warner Brothers was not into it, so Jimmy had started to distance himself. He even gave an interview to columnist Hedda Hopper in which he allegedly said,
I don't date witches, and I dig cartoons even less. Vampira was merely a subject about which I wanted to learn. And after engaging the girl in conversation, I found out that she knew absolutely nothing and is only obsessed with her Vampira makeup.
knife in the heart.
Ew. In the back.
In the back. You're right. Yeah. Obviously, with pressure from the studio, Jimmy had allowed his career and ambition to trump his friendship. And Maila, who had considered him her best friend, was devastated.
It almost sounded like you said breast friend.
Okay. And Maila, who had considered him her best friend, was devastated.
A bosom buddy.
Yes. Here, come my son.
Come, my son.
Suckle on my...
Yeah, exactly. Suckle up. But perhaps we're more sisterly and brotherly. And yeah. Yeah, it might have... This sucks because also she just had her divorce.
Mm-hmm.
And, men are disappointing.
It's a betrayal. They are.
Men are just...
They are.
Maybe cut that out. I'm very...
No, it's all right.
It's not a good time for me.
Men
or
are
women.
Disappointed. It's okay. You can say it.
Ugh.
Say it. We all feel this way.
You know
say
what? Yes. Like, what the fuck? I mean, I understand in a way outgrowing friendships. That happens.
Sure.
Especially, I'm not friends with the same people that I was friends with in my early 20s.
No,
But
it changes.
But to turn on her and say such nasty things in a public article?
Yeah. It's just, it has like a total disregard for her.
Yeah. And I mean, it's one thing to be like, listen, the studio says I have to do this. I don't mean it.
Yeah, you kind of have to, I think you just have to be like forward
if you're
about stuff.
I mean, Courtney Blomquist.
Yes.
How would you feel if for some reason our friendship was deemed a problem and I was famous enough to where like some fucking studio wackadoo was like, you have to distance yourself from Courtney Blomquist? How would you feel? Even if I did you the courtesy of warning you, like, listen, I have to, I just don't.
Well, would part of that be that you have to like kick me out of my house and property?
No. I would just have to like publicly humiliate you.
I would just have to publicly
humiliate
no,
you.
That would be awful. Like
even if I warned you up front that it was going to happen,
yeah,
would you still want to be friends with me?
No, I think what I would understand if there was something that made you have to distance yourself from me, just to distance yourself because it didn't look good for you or whatever, like from a PR standpoint or whatever, that I would understand. If it was simply like, I just have to not be like in photographs with you or something, that even would hurt a little bit, but I would understand. And I think that if it was like, you have to say bad stuff about me, it's just hard to even imagine a context where that's like,
right, where I have to go on record and shit on you.
That's the thing. I don't think he had to go on record. I think like he didn't have to do that. He could have just been like, I don't know her that well. That's all like rumors.
Yeah.
Could have just said that.
Unsubstantiated rumors.
Yeah, exactly. Unsubstantiated claims.
I wonder if they actually did ever have a romance. Does it say in her?
She has said that they don't.
He doesn't deserve it.
Doesn't deserve it.
He doesn't deserve it.
No, he doesn't. At the same time, Maila was feeling cornered in her career. Her close ties to the station were keeping her from expanding her opportunities. When she got an offer to be on the popular talk show, The George Gobel Show, she knew she had to say yes. Stars like Jimmy Stewart and Kirk Douglas had made appearances on the show, and it felt like an opportunity for visibility that you just don't pass up.
Yeah.
It was the highest rated show on TV.
That's big.
But the show filmed at 10 p.m. on Saturday night, and Maila would never make it back to her own show in time to film at 11. So KABC forbade her from doing the George Gobel show, but she did it anyway.
Yes. Oh, I'm so proud of you, girl.
Yep. Documentarian Ray Green is heard narrating over the clip of this. It was used in his 2012 film Vampira and Me. And it does represent the largest viewership that Vampira ever had. Her show was only on local TV, and George Gobel's was nationwide with an audience of millions. So this is the clip, and it like I said, the narration is on it, and it's just because they actually like dug this up.
Young man, who are you?
What is this?
Won't you come in, Mr. Gobel? We can have a nice little... Don't step on the cat's tail.
I don't see any cat.
Oh, we don't have a cat. Just his tail. Do you mind if I smoke?
No, not at all.
And the
Go
bench
ahead.
she's on
Thank
just
you.
starts smoking.
And she's just doing all these poses.
Yes.
There are layers here uncommon for the time. Vampira is the actress in the sketch, not the role.
Just a moment. Let me introduce myself. I'm Mrs. Jones. Phew,
Just plain Mrs. Jones.
just plain Mrs. Jones. Just like the Mrs. Jones who lives next door on any street in America.
This makes Vampira real in a sense, at least in the syntax of the show.
Say, Mrs. Jones, did anybody ever tell you that you look like,
Vampira?
yeah.
No.
He just runs away from her. Yeah.
Oh, that's such a cool way to introduce your character. Like, what a really, really funny sketch.
Yeah.
Like,
It's funny
it
now.
holds up. It
Yeah.
holds up. And her physical acting and comedic timing is brilliant.
Yeah.
It's and that can't be taught. That can't be taught. It's so good.
It's very good. And I'll include a link to this. But Maila didn't make it back in time to film, and the network was livid. They owned only a minority share of her character, but still 49%. So they couldn't simply recast her. So Selig J. Seligman, the station owner. I know.
Stop it. Selig J. Seligman.
Or Selig J. I don't know how you say that.
That's like John J. Johnman.
Yeah. Johnman, not Johnson. John J. Johnman. I like that. That's like the name of like a Men in Black. You know what I mean? Like an alien.
An alien pretending to be a human.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what this network exec sounds like. And you know what? Nothing has changed.
Nothing has changed. So Selig J. Seligman called and essentially demanded that she sign over more. They wanted the rights to her character and the rights to syndicate the show. In Maila's words,
"The man who owned the station called me on Tuesday morning. He was obnoxious and making unreasonable demands and tried to manipulate me into signing my life away for nothing. I told him he didn't know it, but there was a God and he's listening to you and watching you. And then I hung up. Then I learned that I offended one big ugly ego who was super powerful, and he decided to fix me."
So Seligman put an end to the Vampira show just a week after her appearance on the George Gobel show, which is...
Bastard move.
Yeah. She was contractually not allowed to appear as Vampira for 6 months, which was long enough for her hot iron to grow cold. And it was at this point that Maila broke down. Yeah. That's pretty devastating.
Divorce.
Mm-hmm.
Best friend stabs you in the back.
Mm-hmm. And then you have this little high
You
of
get-
being on the show. It's a pretty big high, actually.
Yeah. Huge high.
Yeah.
And then you can't, again, if you cannot capitalize on momentum, you're dead in the water.
Right.
Here.
Right.
Especially like, nowadays we have social media and you can kind of do your own thing.
Right.
You have a little bit more power with that, and you're more reachable, right?
Mm-hmm.
With this, if you're off a show, if your platform is taken away from you, that's it.
Yeah. No one can see you.
Ugh.
So,
Maila broke down.
yes. After being let go from the station, Maila's mother, Sophie, was called upon to help. Maila was in terrible shape and had smashed all the mirrors in her apartment and cut off all her hair. Unsure what to do.
She had a little bit of a mentee bee.
Yep. A mentee bee. It's true. Unsure of what to do, Sophie dumped water on her head to try to snap her out of it. I mean...
Snap out of it!
Yeah, just picturing Sharon Moonstruck. And Sophie Niemi is played by none other than Cher. Maila called Marlon Brando for help, but he was in a place where he was convinced that Albert Einstein was communicating with him from beyond the grave, so Maila didn't find him to be a reliable shoulder to cry on.
Oh, no.
He thought Einstein had said to him,
"You young people, you must move quickly. Time is running out. Get out there and move. Change the world before it's too late."
and I'm sure she was like, "Hey, buddy, I'm the one going through the breakdown, okay?"
Okay.
Yeah. Maila was still a frequenter of Googie's, but her trio had been reduced down to a duo, just her and Jack Simmons. Jimmy had been hanging out with Frank Sinatra, Judy Garland, and Lauren Bacall at the Villa Capri, where he had once been undesirable riffraff. Now he was a star.
Mm-hmm.
But one night, he did stop in and sweep Maila away on a motorcycle. They stole hot dogs, buns, and marshmallows and roasted them on a hobo stove, which is wax cardboard, a flame in a can, while overlooking Hollywood. Maila brought up Hedda Hopper's article, and Dean simply told her,
"She's a harpy, Maila. Don't believe everything you read." Gaslighting.
Yep, he denied it.
What a dick.
But he's like, "Let me take you on this like secret date where no one will see us."
Yeah. In the middle of the night.
Yep.
Using a hobo stove.
Yep. Cheap date.
Cheap date.
Both James Dean and Marlon Brando used to come to visit Maila by climbing through her unlocked window.
What the fuck?
just so they could get that iconic scream out of her. Ah! Oh, it's just you.
Oh, it's just you, Brando. It's just you, Dean.
You
This
know
is
how
like-
screaming relaxes me. So.
This is like, why did I just imagine Clarissa Explains It All, but except it's two
But it's
A-list actors.
right, climbing through her
climbing
window.
through her window.
That makes it creepier because then it's like a teenage girl. This is 30-something woman, but yeah.
Oh my
gosh. So, Brando had started it, and because he was Jimmy's acting idol, he followed his example.
Okay.
Jimmy came to visit one last time before his death, but Maila wasn't there. She had a giant empty brass picture frame hanging on her wall, and Jimmy had cut out an ear, both eyes, and one nostril from one of the 8x10 glossies of himself that he kept in his car, and he made a little collage of them.
By the way, the 8x10 glossies, that's his headshots. He basically had a bunch of printed out headshots of himself in his car.
I guess so. Yeah, but he was like, I guess you're right. Yeah. 'Cause I think he was like famous enough at this point, but it was kind of new. So like he probably just still had the headshots in his car.
Yeah. Honestly, same.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I used to keep a stack of headshots in my car for the longest time before everything went fully digital.
Mm-hmm.
That's hilarious. So you just like made a collage of a bunch of his
Little parts.
his little body parts and put it right before he died. That's kind of actually creepy.
It is. He tacked them up with a piece of Maila's costume jewelry, a scabbard, and dagger affixed with a chain.
Art.
Mm-hmm. He also focused her ceiling light to spotlight them. It was strange and creepy, which was fitting for their friendship. So Maila decided to do something strange and creepy too. She used one of her old publicity postcards for Vampira that pictured her lounging beside an open grave and wrote,
"Wish you were here. Love, Maila."
Not knowing his new address, Maila had the note delivered to Jimmy's new stomping grounds, the Villa Capri. So it was seen by much of the staff.
So they weren't. If
That's
she
the
didn't
thing.
know, if she didn't know where he lived, then they were not close.
Yeah. I mean, I think he probably recently moved is what I would imagine because of the fame boost.
Mm-hmm.
And he also wasn't really close with her at this time.
Yeah.
So
Still crawling through a goddamn window.
I know.
though.
I know. So it was, but this like little postcard was seen by much of the staff before it made its way to Jimmy, if it ever made its way to him. He had called Maila asking if she'd sent him a mean picture, and it was then that she found out it had been intercepted by the maitre d' of the Villa Capri. She told him it wasn't mean and that he'd have to see it for himself. But that was the last time they spoke. At 6 p.m. on September 30th, 1955, the costume jewelry dagger came loose from Jimmy's collage and swung like a pendulum from its chain. And right afterwards, Maila received the call that James Dean had died.
Whoa. Spooky ooky.
Maila was shattered by his death, but felt too fragile to attend his funeral in Indiana. But he was buried on October 8th.
Yeah, and you had to go to Indiana.
And we've talked about this.
Yeah.
You go and you...
My mental health is hanging by a thread. And
I
have
need to go.
You know where I need to go?
Indiana. A funeral in Indiana. So he was buried on October 8th, 1955. It was the same day that Maila was released from her KABC contract and retained her rights to the Vampira character.
Wow.
So obviously that sours it.
It's a big day.
It's a big day. And then she would have been happy that day, but she can't be.
Right.
So Sophie came to help her again as Maila was moving directly from career grief into the grief of losing a close friend. She played the Rosemary Clooney song Hey There repeatedly and began to feel that she could communicate with Jimmy from beyond the grave.
Oh, no.
Days after his death, she swore the ear of the collage he'd left on the wall fluttered with no breeze coming from the window to rustle it. So Maila asked the ear,
What was Jimmy's favorite drum beat? Was it too fast and one slow, or one slow and too fast?
According to Maila, it wiggled 2 times slowly and then 1 more time. Succumbing to her grief, Maila had taken to wearing all black along with a large crucifix, and she would recount stories of the wiggling ear like this to curious throngs at Googie's. Some were intrigued enough to want to witness the ear for themselves, and Maila obliged. But while she convinced some that he was communicating via his own photographed ear, others mocked her for believing this. And it would be this story and the postcard she'd sent him before his death that would come back to haunt her.
Oh, no.
But for now, she was simply haunted by Hollywood and all of the memories of her dear friend that were contained within the smoggy city. So as was her custom, she moved to New York for a fresh start. As we talked about last time, she was back and forth.
Back and forth,
Now
yeah.
again. When Marlon Brando asked how she'd support herself, Maila had said,
I suppose I could do television commercials or Maybe I'll be a blues singer. I can't sing worth a damn, but I sure as hell know how to be blue.
Yeah. So with a heavy heart and career ambitions that were more half-baked than ever, Maila boarded a bus once again. She had just $210 to her name.
What?
Mm-hmm. But she found herself a home in the third-story walk-up apartment of a 46th Street brownstone. There was one practical angle to her new move. She had befriended actor Tony Perkins, who would later become eternally famous for playing Norman Bates in Psycho. And she felt that he'd be able to...
Of course.
I know.
Of course she befriended the guy that would play Norman Bates.
I know.
Oh my
It's
God.
Truly. Like, if you're creepy, you're Maila Nurmi's friend.
Yeah.
And she felt that he'd be able to help her with theater connections in the city now that he was once again performing on Broadway.
Where are I don't see her making any female friends. Where are they?
That's a really good point.
It's all these like
in the beginning
spooky men.
there were like the last chapter I feel like there were, but yeah, now it's all spooky men.
the circus girl.
The girl that she like went to the circus with and like moved it. Yeah, she had like some like and the roommate where they were like starving themselves.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Was that more of a roommate, more of a friend, or a roommate though? Sometimes
they moved to the city together, so I don't know. If it might have all been convenience.
Yeah. Okay, so now she's friends with
another
Norman
actor.
Bates.
Another creepy actor. Having once been told that her aura was lavender by a Hollywood street prophet named Peter the Hermit.
Where do you find these things?
It's in this book. It's all in this book.
Oh my God.
Maila embraced this color as a hallmark of her next chapter and painted everything in the apartment, including the refrigerator and the stove, a serene shade of lavender.
You know, it's very calming.
It's very calming.
I'm about to paint my bathroom lavender.
Yeah, it's going to be lovely.
What do you think my aura is? My color?
Yellow.
That's just because that's my favorite color, though.
No, I think it's true. I think you're sunshine.
Oh,
I think you're sunshine.
Yours is green.
Green is my favorite color.
I know, but but it's also your aura. You know, it's
maybe that's why they're our favorites.
Yeah,
that might be it. Yep,
Anyways,
we know.
We know.
You just always know your aura. But her time in this apartment would be anything but serene.
Oh no, the lavender didn't work.
It did not work. I'm sorry to say that Maila endured a terrifying break-in by a young man named Ellis Barber. Knowing the crazed Vampira fans that were out there, you'd think that Barber may have been one of them, but in actuality, he had no idea who she was. He just had a history of burglarizing and attempted rape, and Maila was his unfortunate victim.
No!
He had pushed his way into the apartment when Maila cracked the door open upon hearing his knock. She thought he was Tony Perkins. Barber had told Maila,
"You won't live past morning,"
while lying on top of her and holding a razor blade to her throat.
Oh my gosh.
I know. It's like the nightmare we all have.
Yes.
And then amazingly, he fell asleep that way.
Do you think he was just so high on something and then...
I don't know, because he'd done this before.
Or he had been up for so long and was like in a manic sort of episode.
Obviously he's not an okay person.
Yeah.
Something's wrong. I don't know, but he'd done this kind of thing before.
He fell asleep on top of her?
I know.
What the fuck?
Truly. So she wriggled out from beneath him and fled down the stairs. He came after her, attempting to choke her and ripping off her sweater. And in pulling away from him, she tumbled down the stairs twice. She managed to run outside, bruised and topless, screaming for the police. And once her attacker had been caught, Maila learned from police that Ellis Barber was known to the police as the Vamp.
What?
I know. He ended up at Bellevue Hospital for mental evaluation after the attack. But that's all we really know about where he ended up. But the ruthless press was interested in Maila again now that they could cover the scuffle between Vampira and the vamp.
Oh my God. No.
I know. It's so
That's
tacky.
so gross.
Despite how traumatized she was, Maila cooperated with the story and allowed the press to photograph her, pointing to her bruises. They cared about selling a story and a catchy headline, but nobody seemed to care for Maila as a human being. And I do have a picture of that photograph in
I
here.
hope she got paid for this.
I don't think she did. Look at, she's like kind of posing and pointing to her bruises.
I do like that in one of her pointing, she's pointing with her middle finger.
Let me see. Oh my God. I did not catch that. You're right. She's pointing to one on her shoulder.
Yeah, she's pointing to one on her shoulder and kind of looking glamorous about it. And then with her other hand, she's pulling up the side of her dress and with her hand, but pointing with her middle finger.
Mm-hmm. Maybe she was doing a little fuck you.
Maybe she was. I mean, I feel like she was very purposeful.
Yes. But I also wonder if this was a moment where it was like just that dark desperation.
Yeah. You don't think she got paid to do this article?
I bet she didn't. I don't know. I mean, it might have been like, oh, it's press. I don't know.
You know me. I'm just so worried about women getting paid.
I don't think girl, we're all worried about her getting paid because it didn't happen enough. So she returned to Hollywood trusting that she could endure painful memories in exchange for the feeling of safety and being amongst friends. But immediately upon returning to the city...
Okay, so she's back to Hollywood again.
Yep.
Zip, zap. I mean, I would been out of that apartment so fast.
Oh, for sure. Of course.
I would... no.
Of course.
No. Take me across the country.
Yeah, get me away. Immediately upon returning to the city, a sleazy magazine called Whisper issued a story that inflicted emotional bruises that were just as vicious as her physical ones. It was a 5-page spread that was titled James Dean's Black Madonna, the most chilling, tragic love story in Hollywood. It asserted incorrectly that James and Maila had been lovers and that he dumped her when he'd become a star. Truthfully, he partially did dump her as a friend when he became a star, but that wasn't the story they were going with anyway. The article featured photos of Jimmy's cutout collage on Maila's wall and of the postcard she'd sent to the Villa Capri.
How did they get a hold of it?
I mean, I guess like a waiter or something.
Gross.
Yeah.
Gross,
and then
gross,
she
gross.
showed the eared up people.
That's right.
Yeah.
She did do that.
It said that Maila was a witch and she'd cast a death spell upon James Dean.
What? Oh, just the history of people calling women witches and then burning them or their careers to the ground.
And her career's already burned to the ground in a lot of ways, and then this is what happens.
It's like the final nail in the coffin, really.
Yeah. And she began receiving death threats from James Dean's fans, and on top of all of these external stressors, she was flat broke. So she moved in with her mother, Sophie, in a 1-bedroom apartment.
Dear God.
I know you're... It's
dear God.
a 1-bedroom apartment.
Listen, I had to do that for 4 months.
You did? When?
When
you had your surgery.
When I had knee reconstruction, my parents moved in with me for 4 months to take care of me. And I'm so grateful that I had someone to take. I needed that. But my God, the 3 of us were sharing a 1-bedroom apartment. I don't know if I've told this story already in this pod. Okay. I was me, my mom, my dog, and the ice machine around my knee, and the machine that would bend and straighten my leg for me 6 hours a day, all shared the bed. My dad slept on the couch, and I went a little crazy.
Yeah.
I did go a little bit nuts.
I remember this time.
Yeah.
That machine was huge.
You can, if you're interested, there is a picture of it and me on my. I documented my recovery pretty extensively so that I could look back and be able to see the progress, because I definitely didn't feel it a lot of the time. But there is a picture of me, and I called it the torture machine, but it was also torture. Living with my parents in a 1-bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
When I tell you I am Vampira and she is me.
Yes. It's kindred. It's a connection. It's a soul connection.
It is.
Sorry, I was just eating a bite of that delicious cinnamon roll. So, yes, luckily, her mother was now sober. She doted on Maila, albeit resentfully. She tended to, she tended to her cats, washed her clothing, did the dishes, and made sure Maila remembered to bring a sweater with her when it was chilly.
So she took care of her little depressed ass.
Yeah, she did.
She was there for her when she needed her.
She was. All
right, Mom. You get some points here.
You got some points here. And
snap out.
She also gets some points for freaking out on Orson Welles.
Oh yeah.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, I
liked
really
that moment.
good.
And she often had to make excuses for her daughter when she double booked herself and was out on a date with one man while another one showed up at her door for the same purpose.
Me. If this isn't me. The amount of times I've double booked myself in so many different ways.
Yep.
Because my ADHD ass didn't put shit in my iCal, and when I
feel like you're good with your calendar. I'm getting better.
Because of the amount of times I have double booked myself, Courtney, and been so embarrassed or accidentally unprofessional or girl,
I get it.
Maila, I am you. Her mom made excuses for her. That's a homie right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's more than a mom. That's a homie.
It's true. And so Sophie had a thing or two to legitimately complain about. And she did complain.
Also, my mother.
Yep. She said of her daughter,
Maila keeps ungodly hours. She hangs out with creeps. She doesn't help with the groceries. She spends all her money on taxis. Her behavior is shameful.
Says the newly sober person. I feel like that's a newly sober attitude.
Yeah.
Like, well, God, your life's in the gutter. Why can't you be like me and clean yourself up? Just when Maila had scraped the bottom of her barrel of funds, a job came along that was the bottom of her career barrel. She had been offered a part in B-movie director Ed Wood's new picture, which at that point was titled Grave Robbers from Outer Space. On brand. Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I wouldn't say no if I were the best thing about a B movie.
I mean, you know me, I wouldn't say no even if I wasn't.
Yeah. Also, I mean, what is Grave Robbers from Outer Space?
We're gonna.
What is? Okay.
We're gonna talk about
it.
Okay. They offered $200 in cash or $2,300 today for one day of work.
That ain't bad.
It's not bad.
That ain't bad.
And the film would feature her beloved Bela Lugosi.
Oh, a chance to reunite with her bestie, Bella.
That's right. Because she was so broke, Maila was tempted. But because of Wood's schlocky reputation, I used it again.
She sure did.
She thought working with him might put the final nail in Vampira's coffin. So she agreed to read the script, but held off on accepting. And just when it seemed that the well was truly dry, some promising opportunities arose like The Walking Dead that would keep Ed Wood in the wings for a little bit longer. And that is where we will pick up next time.
Oh my gosh. Girl, I hope this is just a slump, girl. I'm rooting for you. I am rooting for you.
Yep. Well, I mean, she's also somebody who is, again, only kind of famous. And now we know why. And, you know.
Well, there are, I mean, back then too, there are plenty of famous people that I'm not familiar with
That's true.
their work. So
that's very true.
You know,
so we don't know.
I love her. I love her.
I'm just eating your cinnamon roll. Just
Please,
sorry, guys. I'm going to move this microphone away from my mouth. Keep going.
I love her so much. She's, I think she did the thing that a lot of young, eager performers often do when you don't have, either if you have the wrong people, quote unquote, looking out for you, if you have no one looking out for you, if you're non-union, you don't have a union to protect you. And she just jumped at this opportunity and then kind of got locked into it. And then like all her eggs were in this basket. And then as soon as she exercised any sort of anything with her career, it got ripped out from under her by a stupid man.
By Selig J. Seligman.
By John J. Johnman, the bastard.
For real. No, it's just but we'll see what comes to be of Miss Maila Nurmi. But
I thought this was just going to be a 2-part series. I'm so excited that there's a third part.
Oh, there is a third part. Yeah, it's just her story.
Can you
is
give us
so
a little hint?
good.
Does it get better? I need some good news right now.
I mean, look, I think that, like we said, she's a counterculture queen. And I think that without giving away anything, what I admire about her is that I think that even in the lowest moments of her life, she always found her counterculture people, her counterculture tribe at all ages of her life. But I feel like she was artistic even in the lowest moments of her life. I think she had that instinct that we've seen from her the whole time of like always wanting to make characters, even when she had like a job selling magazines or whatever, you know. It's like that never goes away with her. And that's what I really love about her.
I love that. I mean, when I'm in a lot of pain, I don't know what else to do with it except turn it into art. So, God, I love her.
I love her too. And I feel like, it's one of those, I think we're doing a 3-parter on her because I think this woman's story needs to be told. I mean, I am using the Glamour Ghoul. I've mentioned this in the last episode, but it's obviously still the source for this one. It's called Glamour Ghoul, The Passions and Pain of the Real Vampira. And it was written by her niece, but using a bunch of her own writings because her niece had access to all of that stuff because at the time she was her only living relative. So, I mean, I don't know how many people have read this book. I don't think it's that many. And I thought it was like just the most fascinating and incredible story. And so I'm really glad to be talking about it on here because when you just
Me too. Yeah. Thank you for bringing her into my life.
Now you have your bosom friend. Yeah. It's kind of amazing. So you all should read this book because it's pretty great. It's a story that needs to be told. I mean, we're telling it, but you know.
Well, thank you for doing the Lord's work, Courtney.
You're welcome. You're welcome. For all you goths out there.
Yeah. All you goths and ghouls out there.
I'm bringing you the story of Mother. If we've piqued your curiosity, please subscribe on Substack at deadandkindofamous.substack.com. We list each episode there along with photos, newsletters, sources, and more. You can also find us wherever you get your podcasts.
Dead and Kind of Famous is written, researched, and produced by Courtney Blomquist. It is co-hosted by Marissa Rivera. We tag team on socials. Jesse Russell and Courtney Blomquist do our editing.
Until next time, you might not be famous, but you got a story to tell, and you're not dead yet.